Human rights organizations are warning that the Trump administration's massive cuts in international aid relief could imperil millions living in global crisis zones. One of those people is David Miliband, president and CEO of the International Rescue Committee. And David is here for tonight's interview. David, it's very good to have you.
Thank you, John.
How much more difficult is the IRC's job given these cuts?
Well, there's no aid flowing. It's very simple. There's no aid money
at all.
No, because the government have got three issues. Number one, they've given us waivers to continue programming, but they're not sending any money. Those are life-saving programs for health, nutrition. They've given us permission. They say, we want you to deliver your programs that save lives, but there's no money coming. Second, we've got programs that are life-saving in places like South Sudan that have simply been terminated with no good reason. Nutrition programs, core programs for keeping people alive. And thirdly, the system is breaking down because we've applied for waivers for life-saving programs that haven't even been determined, including in places like Sudan, which is the world's largest humanitarian crisis. So the US, as the anchor of the global aid system, the anchor's been pulled up and the ship is rocking in very choppy seas.
In that third part, when you're applying for, is it just that there's nobody on the phone to reach? There's no system for...
It's all by email, so we don't know. I mean, we send them in and we don't get an answer. That's now 4 weeks we've been waiting for programs, just my own organization. And millions of people are affected. We're not talking about a marginal part of the global aid system. We're talking about a core part. Every administration has the full right to review programs. We understand that. We'd like to participate in that. The problem here is that instead of waiting with the existing programs while the review is going on, they've stopped the existing programs while they're doing their review.
And we're talking about food to keep from starving, medicines.
Yeah, absolutely core. I mean, the Secretary Rubio has said he wants an exclusion, a waiver for all food programs, for life-saving programs, but the money's not flowing there. But also we have health, nutrition, malnutrition programs. South Sudan, we're helping 250,000 people through a program funded by the US government. 6,000 kids at dire risk have had their program terminated. That's how serious it is.
You've mentioned this, but how much different would this have been if it had been less of a swift process, less of a pell-mell process?
It would have been 180 degrees different, because while the government was doing its review, it could have kept the programs going. It could have said, like, we're going to keep going with these, we'll change our priorities. That's understandable. But across the world, the global aid system is in crisis because we don't know where the next dollar is coming from.
Is there food sitting in warehouses?
Yes, there is. My own organization doesn't do much food distribution. We're more on the health, child protection, water and sanitation, very important programs. But there's American food that's sitting in warehouses for a range of other charities than my own.
And what kind of choices now does this force you to have to make?
Well, they're very stark choices. We're having to confine programs to their bare essentials. We're very committed. We're a mission-driven organization. We know that the American public, corporations, philanthropists want to play their part. We're appealing to them, but we're also appealing to the government. America's got a proud tradition in this area. It doesn't need to halt all the aid while it's considering the next steps in aid reform.
And you have been a diplomat in a previous part of your life. Give me your sense on the role these plays. Not obviously it plays a role in a human sense, but as a geopolitical force, why this kind of aid is important.
Well, successive administrations and generations of senators, including Senator Rubio when he was in the Senate, very committed on this issue, have understood diplomacy matters, defense matters, but my goodness, the commitment to keep people alive is part of the American heart. It's core to American values. And the fact that those programs are now being broken up, that's what people don't understand. And there's no question, there's a moral case, but there's also a strategic case. Because I guarantee you this, when America pulls up anchor and leaves, others will move in.